So let's start. The second topic is foundations of organizational environment. Foundations of organizational environment. So when you talk about foundations of organizational environment, we are looking at how the various theories that support organizational environment. And these theories have created what we call the basis in which most companies are operating today. So organization theory is a study of the structure of organizations. So we are trying to look at how the organizations can structure their businesses. And this theory will help explain some of these structures. So we have four major theories that contribute to the study, and these theories include the classical organizational theory, the human relation or neoclassical theory, and we have the contingency or decision theory, and lastly, we have the modern system theory. And we are saying over time, the emphasis in organization theory has shifted from stiff hierarchical structure, and nowadays we have more flexible structures in place. And remember, during the industrial age and the previous long time ago, organizations had a structure that was very stiff. But because of technology and because of information and other issues, companies started adopting new ways of doing things. And this really made them the best in terms of serving customers. They were able to increase their productivity, and also they were able to motivate their employees for purposes of ensuring that those businesses were going concerned. So let's look at the classical theory. The classical theory of organization represents the merger of scientific management, bureaucratic theory, and administrative theory. So let's look at the scientific management theory. This theory has four principles. And the first principle So we have the scientific management theory, which has four basic principles. A scientific method exists to perform each task. So we have a scientific method of performing every task within the organization. So there's a specific way you are supposed to do things within the organization. You also need to select the various methods that you are going to use while performing various functions within the organization. You also need to train your employees so that your employees know exactly what they're supposed to do. And this will help them to be able to find better ways of doing things within the organization. Then the aspect of developing your workers so that your workers become better versions of themselves by empowering them to always do the best of their ability. So scientific theory helps develop workers so that each worker is given some tasks to do, and the supervisor will be able to look at how the workers are doing those activities and basically help to empower them and correct them where they are making mistakes. And this will help improve the performance. The other thing is that management also has a role to play, and this role includes planning and controlling. What are you planning? You are planning for resources that are going to be used in the organization. And resources here, we are looking at infrastructure. We are looking at resources that maybe the procurement plans. We are looking at the human resource plans and how best you can coordinate some of these plans together to achieve a common goal. When we are also looking at control, we are looking at control in the form that control is able to look at your actual performance vis-a-vis your expected performance and try to look at ways in which you can improve your performance or ways in which you can ensure that you minimize waste and maximize your productivity. And when you look at control, we have various ways of measuring performance within the organization. The second theory under classical organization theory is the bureaucratic theory, which places a lot of importance in hierarchical structure of power. When you look at organizations, there is a way they organize their structure, whereby we have various managers at the top level, we have other employees below them who report to them. And when you look at communication in this structure, communication is either vertical communication, where you communicate upwards and downwards. So managers come up with policy. Once they have the policies, they communicate the policies downwards to employees, and employees always give feedback which goes upwards to the managers. Then we are looking at administrative theory. Administrative theory strives to establish the universal management principle relevant to all organizations. So here we are looking at ways of improving your administrative activities within the organization. And we have ways that are universally accepted by most organizations. Hello, Joy, are you able to hear me? So the other theory is the human relation theory. This theory is also referred to as neoclassical theory. And it uses some of the beliefs of the classical theory as its base. In this theory, it expands those beliefs to incorporate other key principles. For example, principles where we have an emphasis between people to create different effective motivators. So human relationship theory considers humanity or considers people who are working in an organization as the source of motivation, where we have others who motivate others to be best versions of themselves. So people are encouraged in this theory to work as a team so that they motivate each other. It also involves resolving creative conflict to help develop new ideas and build stronger working relationship. So the main focus of this theory is to ensure at the end of the day, we are working as a team to resolve some of the issues that are facing the organization when we are working. And the main focus is to build stronger working relationships. Another principle involves emphasizing social interaction. And here we are talking about participative management and decision making. And that is why the managers encourage people to work together. And by working together, the manager ensures that people have tasks that they are going to do together so that they achieve the objective of the organization. It also encourages people to work to learn some soft skills that will help them maybe in interpersonal communication. Skills that, like leadership, are very, very critical. So this theory helps people to be the best versions of themselves. Then we also have another theory, which is the contingency or the decision theory. When you talk about contingency, this is something that happens when you don't plan for it. And if it happens, then it means you need to come up with solutions so that in the event you feel that something is going to happen, you already have an alternative way of resolving some of those issues before they happen. So followers of contingency theory also refer to as the decision theory. View conflict as manageable, so you can easily manage conflict. This theory empowers the principle that organizations act rationally to adapt to environmental changes. So contingency, for example, look at a scenario like the COVID-19. We had some organizations that saw in advance that there was going to be a pandemic. So they planned as early as possible so that in the event the pandemic came, they were already prepared and they were not really affected as much. Contingency theory assesses management effectiveness by managing the environmental adoption ability. So companies that are using this theory are encouraged to adopt better ways of doing things. In the event plan A fails, you already have a plan B and a plan C. Then you have modern system theory. System theories believe all organizations' components are interrelated. So this theory looks at some of the processes, some of the programs that are happening within the organization as a system. And a system here, we can give an example of a human system, how it operates. In the human body, we have different systems in place. And these systems are considered a subsystem. So they work together to ensure that the body is up and running. So the modern system theory also looks at organizations as systems where we have different components within the organization that are put together to work towards achieving certain goals within the organization. So changes in one component may affect all other components. For example, look at the body of a human being. In the event you have a headache, it will affect other parts of your body. You will feel that as if you are very, very weak. Even in organization, in the event maybe procurement department is not working towards achieving your goal, it will affect other departments. If finance does not pay, the other departments will not function well. If it does not set aside a budget, it will also affect everything that is happening within the organization. System theory views organizations as open systems in a state of dynamic equilibrium, which are continually changing and adapting to the environment and circumstances. So these systems are able to adapt to the change in the environment. And nonlinear relationship between organization components create a complex understanding of organization in systems theory. So this system theory is not linear. There is no linear relationship. Therefore, the system works in different ways. So after looking at some of these theories, it is also important to appreciate the type of organizational environment that is in organizations. So every organization needs to be perceived as operating in an environment. Even if it is a small, medium enterprise, you operate in a certain environment that either shapes your business or affects your business. Organizations are neither self-sufficient nor self-contained. So we cannot say that organizations are self-contained because you need to also depend on other factors or other businesses to survive. The exchange resources with dependent upon external environment. So when you are exchanging resources, you need also to depend on the external environment. And that is why we are looking at suppliers as a support stakeholder in businesses. The organization environment can be classified into two categories, where we have the external environment and we have the internal environment. When you look at other books, they can say external environment is macro environment and internal environment is micro environment. So note that, very important. So let's look at the external environment. And external environment, these are forces or conditions which are outside your business, and they affect how you do your business. These conditions are very critical for business survival or operations. Some books always can say that external environments are also referred to as uncontrollable factors. Why do we say uncontrollable factors? These are factors that you cannot control in any way. It's either you shape in or will be driven out of business. Organization takes inputs like raw materials, money, labor, and energy from the external environment. Inputs are the things that will kickstart maybe your production process. Look at raw materials, for example. If you are in manufacturing, you need raw materials to start your business. But without money, you cannot buy the raw material. Look at labor. Labor, these are the people who are working for you. These are the technicians who are working for you, and they need energy to do that. And how can you get these raw materials and labor? You get them from the external environment. And once you have the inputs in place, you transform the inputs into the outputs. And these outputs are the products or the services. And once you do that, you have what is called the finished product. And the finished product is now what you send to the external environment so that customers will be able to buy them. The external environment factor resides outside the organization, which can lead to threats or opportunities. And that is why we have various tools that can be used to analyze the external environment. Look at the SWOT analysis, for example. You'll be able to understand some of the threats that are likely to affect your business survival. Then we are also looking at opportunities, how you can grow your business to become big so that you can have a larger market share. You can have a high growth rate for your business. The external environment can be subdivided into two layers, where we have the general environment and we have the task environment. The task environment consists of factors that directly affect and are affected by the organization's operation. For example, customers form the general environment. Then we're also saying suppliers are part of the general environment. No, suppliers are part of the task environment, but the other, for example, technology is part of the general environment that affects the business. So let's look at the task environment, where we have competitors. So the first one is competitors. We are saying policies of the organizations are often influenced by the competitor. Remember, as much as you are doing your operation within the organization, you also need to look at what your competitors are doing. so that at the end of the day, you become better than your competitors. Remember, you are not alone in the industry. We have other key players in the industry who dictate what customers will buy or will not buy. And that is why every time different companies are coming up with new ways of doing things. Look at a company like Unilever, for example. After every 2 to 3 years, they change their products, maybe by adding something new or by rebranding their products so that they still become relevant in the eyes of the customers. A competitive marketplace, companies are always trying to stay and go further ahead of their competitors. Look at a company like Safaricom. Safaricom started as a communication company where they were giving customers a platform to communicate using their phones. But as the time went by, Safaricom decided to diversify and come up with M-Pesa. Nowadays, they are also doing the internet services because of the market, what the market demands. If Safaricom could stay with the communication, maybe it could have closed right now. But because of diversification and growth, they decided to look at other areas of improvement. Then in the current world economy, competition and competitors are increasing tremendously. So you can't shy away from competition. For example, nowadays you can buy products from China in the comfort of your house. You just need a laptop and a good internet and money in your card, and you can buy something from outside. But if companies don't decide to start selling online, then they will be driven out of business. Nowadays, you don't need to go to the supermarket. You just click a button and the products are brought to you. The positive effect is that the customers always have an option. If today you go to a hotel and you're not treated well, tomorrow you will look for an alternative place where you'll be taking your lunch. And remember, when you lose one customer, it is very difficult to find another customer. And remember, when you lose one customer, you'll be losing other 10 customers because one customer will tell other 10 customers. So you'll be losing 11 customers, and that will affect your business. And that is why if you go to companies, you realize that they have a whole department that deals with quality control. They do checks and balances to try and find better ways of improving their products. Because a dissatisfied customer is a very dangerous customer. Competitors do what is called benchmarking. They pretend that they are coming to buy, but they are coming to see what you do different that they have not implemented in the organization. So you need to up your game as an organization so that you outdo what your competitor is doing. Just a minute. So we are saying we need to consider what our competitors are doing, and that is very, very important. Then the other thing we want to look at is customers. Remember, customers are the ones who shape our day-to-day operations. And we need to look at our customers with a lot of care. If we don't do that, then our customers will be dissatisfied. And this will also affect the business operation. Always don't give your customers an alternative as a business. Let them always know that anytime I want something, this is the place to go. So satisfaction of customers is the primary goal of every organization. Remember, different companies are existing because in one way or another, they are serving customers to the best of their ability. Then we also say customers play a very important role because they are the ones who pay money for organization products and services. And remember, as a customer, you always want value for your money. And before you buy a product, you always ask many questions. Look at a scenario where a customer wants to buy a television. Remember, a television is an expensive item. So you don't just buy, you need to look at what you're buying. There are some features that you're looking in a television. You need to ask many questions. And that is why you need to treat your customers with a lot of care. They are the people who hand them profits, and companies must target them. So if you don't have customers, then it means you will not get profits at the end of the day. And these profits is what now you return back to your business to grow your business and employ more and more people and grow your business. Managers should pay close attention to customers' dimension and organize even trainings of employees on customer service, customer focus. How can we improve our operations? How can we bring more and more customers on board? Even companies have gone to an extra mile of coming up with loyalty cards for purposes of locking your customers so that they earn some points, and these points they can redeem them later if they want. The main focus of this loyalty card is to be able to retain your customers. And you're also telling your customers, if you bring one extra customer, there is a token of appreciation that you get. And that is why we are saying companies need to come with these programs more often so that they lock their customers. Remember, customers can make you or break your business. So treat them with a lot of caution. Mahatma Gandhi once said, the customer is the king. So the customer is always the king of your business. Then we're also looking at suppliers. Suppliers are also very critical. Remember, they are the service providers. They are the ones who bring services to you. And they are the ones who have the raw materials that will kickstart your production process. The only thing you can do to your customer is ensure that you have a positive relationship with your customers. Pay your suppliers on time. Ensure that your suppliers know what you want in terms of quality products, in terms of quality raw materials. And once they understand your business, the suppliers will support your business. And you will always give your customers the best in terms of quality. And it is always important to incorporate your suppliers earlier in the production process. And that is why we have a strategy called early supplier involvement. You are involving your suppliers on the early stages of production so that they are aware of what you want in the long run and in the short run. Then we're also looking at regulators. These are authorities, government authorities that have been given the mandate to monitor what some of these organizations are doing. Look at an example like NEMA. The main focus of NEMA is to ensure that as much as companies are producing, they are not going to affect the environment. Look at a company like KEBS. Their main focus is to check on the standards. And they normally do quality checks of your production so that they understand what you do as an organization. Look at KRA, for example. They are coming to your business to check whether you are paying taxes. whether you are complying, you are tax compliant, and other regulators that are very critical. So as an organization, it is important to align yourself with what some of these policies and practices want you to do. Failure to do that, then it means they will close your business. A good example is a company like Keroche. There was a time Keroche had issues with the government. I think towards the beginning of last year and mid last year, there was an issue of Keroche with the KRA. And at the end of the day, I don't know what happened, but that is a typical example of what a regulator can do to your business. Then we're also looking at other regulators like the trade unions that support what the employees are doing within the organization. Look at a regulator like a trade unionist like KOTU. Their work is to advocate for the rights of employees. So you need to align your business with what the labor laws say about treating your employees. Another one is occupational health and safety regulations. So you need to align your business with some of these regulations so that in the event we have accidents in the organization, do you have fire extinguishers in place? Do you have fire exits in your business? And that is why they come and do some audits, maybe after every 3 to 4 months, so that they can see whether you are complying with some of those regulations. Then we are talking about strategic partners. They are organizations and individuals with whom the organization is to agree or understand for the benefits of the organization. So we are talking about strategic partners. These are partners who come to your business either to support what you are doing or to bring money and invest in your business. And the main focus is to also benefit from what the business is doing. Look at an example of a strategic partner. Let's say Kenya Airways is implementing some maybe programs. They can collaborate with another strategic partner like Safaricom, where they work together with Safaricom for a common good. And other examples, maybe the government is doing some projects, they can collaborate with manufacturers for purposes of benefiting the company and benefiting the citizens of the country. These strategic partners in some way influence the organization activities in various ways. So when they come into your organization, they have to affect your business, whether you like it or not, because they are bringing resources and they need to monitor what their resources are doing at the end of the day. So let's look at the internal environment. Let's look at the internal environment. We are saying these are forces that are within your business and they affect how you do your business. They influence behavior of employees who are working for that business. Each business organization has an internal environment which includes all the elements within the business boundaries. So these are factors that are within the business premise that affect what businesses are doing. For example, we can look at, we can say that these are factors that are part of the business itself. And the major component of internal environment is employees. And if you don't motivate your employees, they will always sabotage your business. They will steal from your business, and your business is going to fail tremendously. So it's always important to create an enabling environment for your employees so that your employees feel motivated and they'll always work towards achieving the goal set for the organization. Look at shareholders and board of directors, for example. They are the ones who bring money to your business. Therefore, they need to understand what you're doing as a business. They need to understand what you are going to invest or what you are planning to do with their money. Failure to do that, they will withdraw money from your business and your business will likely fail. A good example is Nakumat, for example. Nakumat, some shareholders withdrew, and once they withdrew, then the business failed, and other companies also failed as a result of that. Then we are looking at culture. And we are saying culture is a pattern of behavior that has been there over time, that has been practiced over time. When you go to Safaricom, all employees have to wear uniforms. When you go to the banking institutions, all employees must wear a tie and a suit. That is their culture. And that is what shapes their behavior. And when you're a new employee, you are incorporated in this culture and you have to adapt. And a company like Equity, for example, once you are employed, you are given an allowance that will allow you to buy suits. It is normally called a suit allowance. So unapatiwa pesa, hiyo pesa ni ya suti, na tai, na viatu. So that is a culture. When you go to other industries like the aviation industry, in engineering, for example, they cannot buy suits. They rather have the dust coats and their tools of work. So that is their culture, and it has shaped their behavior. Then you can also look at the owners of a business. The owners of a business. Today, you can decide to start a business. You will invest money in your business. And once you invest money in that business, you expect returns at the end of the day. So owners can be an individual or group of people who start the company, who bring money together in form of shares and share markets. And once they bring the money on board, they come up with their own policy that will support their business operation. And the main focus is to ensure at the end of it all, they will get returns for their business. We've talked about the board of directors, and they are the main decision makers of business. They support the business, they support what you do as a business, and they expect at the end of the day, you implement what they have decided. Employees, we are saying, are also critical. They form part of the workforce. And every employee must be part of a labor union. If you are not in management, you must be part of a labor movement so that they will support you in terms of advocating for your rights. You also need to consider building capacity, internal capacity, by encouraging your employees to be better versions of themselves. Culture, we have also talked about culture, and we have said culture is a collective behavior of members of an organization that shapes their values, their beliefs, and their habits. An organization culture plays a major role in shaping its success, and it builds the foundation of behavior within the organization. So what are the dimensions of organizational environment? So when you're talking about dimensions of organizational environment, we are looking at some of the agents that form the business or organizational environment. And here we are looking at the legal, political, economic, and social circumstances that shape most businesses and how the business will carry out its activities for purposes of ensuring that they remain competitive in their business. These are contemplated properties for decision making and enhances the achievement of trading concerns. So you need to decide what you need to do as an organization so that at the end of the day, you achieve your objectives as a business. So let's look at some of the dimensions. We are looking at the legal dimension of the business. And the legal dimension, we are saying these are rules or regulations that support what you do as a business. They are the things that you need to follow. They are the laws that you have to follow as a business for you to remain in business. Legal dimension is very critical in that organizations must be able to understand what are some of the rules that they have to follow for purposes of staying in business. And some of these laws may include the labor laws. And these are laws which support how employees are supposed to be treated in the organization. When we are looking at organizational safety and health laws, these are laws which support the working environment within the organizations. For example, if you're working in a warehouse, you need to have a helmet, you need to have safety shoes, you need to have a reflector, you need to have a dust coat so that your health is your wealth, remember. In the event we have an accident, you will not be affected by anything. Then we have other laws. For example, if you're in procurement, we have procurement laws that you have to follow. For example, the Public Procurement Asset Disposal Act. You have to follow that law. You have to follow the regulations. If you're in human resource, you need to follow the labor laws. What does the law say on employment? And other fields. Then the political dimension. We are looking at the political dimension. And here we are looking at the political affiliations, political instability or stability. In the event a country is experiencing political instability, then it means investors will run away from that country and they'll go to another country to look for different alternatives for their business. So it is always important that we have political stability both for the national government and the county government. Then the other thing is the political environment in the global space. If two countries are fighting because of their politics and internal conflicts, then it will affect other businesses. Look at the case of Russia and Ukraine. It really affected most businesses. Economic dimension. Economic dimension consists of economic systems, policies, conditions that are in a certain country. These dimensions can be interest rates, the rate of inflation, the stock market indices. And when you're talking about indices, these are a group of companies that come together to do business. Then we are talking about the value of the Kenyan shilling, which is affecting most businesses. The level of disposable income is also an economic issue. The level of unemployment in some of these countries. And if the level of unemployment is high, then it means citizens will not have disposable income to spend. And this also will have a ripple effect in the demand and supply of goods. Then we also have the social dimension. Social dimension, we are saying these are customs or morals or values that shape how people relate in the society. For example, if you look at different tribes have different cultures, they have different ways of doing things. For example, if you go to the Luos, they do not take maybe mokimo, for example. If you go to the Agikuyu, they don't take fish. If you go to maybe the Luyas, their staple food is ugali and the kuku, for example. You know, so as a company, you need to look at some of these cultures, some of these customs and values, and try to segment your market so that you sell to all those different cultures and people. Then when you're looking at social class, we have the high class, we have the middle class, and we have the low class. So you can't sell the economy products to the high class. They always buy in bulk. So huwezi enda na Blue Band ya 100 Westlands ama Karen, they won't buy. But when you go with the 1 kg Blue Band, they will buy. So you need to look at some of these things and try to segment your market to feed the various cadres of people that we have. Technological dimension is very important. And when we're talking about technological dimension, we are looking at technology, which is changing every day. Technology is changing every day. We started with CDs, wakuja kwa flash disk. Nowadays, we don't need flash disk anymore. Provided you have an Android TV or a smart TV, you don't need even to store songs or videos on a flash disk. And that is the power of technology. Look at companies, they are implementing e-procurement, e-commerce. Nowadays, you don't need to go physically and buy something. You only need to click a button and you're able to get what you want. And these are shaped how we do business. Nowadays, technology has made it easy because you can get all the information that you want. For example, if you feel that your head is not okay, just Google what are some of the medicines that you can use to cure your head. It will give you 1 million of answers and you can get better. And remember, customers nowadays are more informed. They have all the information that they need. So you cannot lie to a customer because they exactly know what they want. So companies also need to be very, very smart. We need to provide the relevant information that customers need. Then we are talking about international dimensions. What is happening globally affects most businesses. And I gave an example of the war in Somalia, the war in Ukraine and Russia. It affects businesses. So companies need to style up. Remember what is happening in these companies, these countries that produce fuel or petroleum products. It affects most companies or most businesses. So international dimension is very critical, and companies need to look at what is happening globally so that they can adapt locally and come up with business solutions that will impact the society at large. So that is the end of that topic. That's the end of that topic. Any question?